You're listening to the Rossco Fantasy Football Show, live on the Peak One Sports Network.
And we're here at No Frills Sports Grill and Bar in Arlington for week 6 of the Rossco Fantasy Football Show. Welcome, everyone. Glad to have you here. Make sure if you're watching, you let me know in the comments. We'll try to get you on the show. I'll answer any questions for you, but really we just love seeing the support. So glad to have you guys here with us. Tonight's actually a very special night for me. And I'm going to show you that here in just a moment. Monumental night for me. So I'll share that with you in just a moment. But first, as always, shout out to our sponsor. Sponsoring our live on location tonight is No Frills, where we're at. No Frills is a local sports bar and grill that offers good times for all ages. Whether you're coming out to catch the game, bringing the kids to the arcade, or maybe you're just having a drink with your friends, visit No Frills Sports Bar and Grill in Arlington, Fort Worth, Mansfield, Keller, or Burleson today. And, of course, it wouldn't be the Rossco Fantasy Football Show if we didn't talk about one of our favorite sponsors, the Dapper Dog Academy. The Dapper Dog Academy is a top-notch training academy located in Cleburne, Texas. Owner and head trainer Corey Bennett has nearly 10 years' experience helping your canine companions become the best version of themselves. Contact Corey and the Dapper Dog Academy on Facebook and book your consultation today. And, of course, Dubby, big fan. Got my Dubby with me every week. Love it. It's awesome. Also throwing it out there if you're like a gamer or a streamer, they're looking for more sponsors too. I see it all over their Facebook, so make sure you check them out if you're trying to get your channel going. But Dubby is awesome, especially if you're seeking a superior energy drink to replace those inferior caffeinated beverages. Dubby contains 0 maltodextrin, 0 artificial colors or dyes, and 0 proprietary blends. The coffee fruit extract is the star of this delicious drink, helping you to energize without the jitters or crash. Order Dubby using code PEAK1 and enjoy 10% off your order today. So thank you very much to our sponsors. So I mentioned that this week's very special to me, and I wanted to share this with you guys. As you know, this is the first season of the Rossco Fantasy Football Show, but it's definitely not the first season I played fantasy. I've been playing on the same account since I started playing fantasy football with Dan and all the guys, and it's just kind of moved into here. So I think what I'd like to do is get just the right music for it. So real quick, we'll just throw some music on. Like I said, I'm glad you guys could be here to share this with me. But this week, last week, after week 5 of fantasy football, it finally happened, guys. I hit 1,000 wins. I got my 1,000 wins. So you can see I've been playing since 2008 on this account. Not a whole lot of movement at the beginning of that, but man, 2010 was the year I had my kid, and I don't blame him for that, but obviously you could understand I was a little more busy, so I didn't really get to play a lot in 2010, kind of lost a little, and then just the sky's the limit after that. So 1,000 wins for your boy. Also 694 losses. Obviously, I'm not trying to hide that. What actually is amazing to me about this is that I've only had 2 ties. If we do the math, which you guys who watch the show, I'm not very good at math. That's a lot of wins. It's also a lot of losses, but you can see I've had 113 teams. Now that's going to include this year. So does the 1,000 wins. So, I guess if you take the 113, I'm averaging like 9 wins or so a team. Obviously they're not all great, but I just wanted to share that with you guys. And obviously I haven't really showed you guys my profile since I've been, doing the show. I might have that first week, but just wanted to share that. I'm super excited about it. It's something that I've been talking about with some of my friends for a long time. I think maybe the first year that I made diamond level. This year's my 8th year as a diamond level player, which if you go look it up on Yahoo, I think it'll tell you kind of where that falls. But anyway, wanted to share that with you guys. Very special. I finally got my 1,000th win, and man, it wasn't easy. Hey, what's going on, man? You got some food for us? What's that? What's that?
Chicken strip salad.
That's our chicken strip salad. Look at that. And so, what's your name, man? Peyton? Peyton. Okay. Well, hey, say hi to Peyton, everybody. If you're watching, make sure you give him a shout out. So this is the grilled chicken, and is this you did blacken the chicken, right? Wow, man. And it smells delicious, folks. Make sure you come out and check out No Frills. And then what is this thing over here? This has got, okay, so it's a sampler. What do we got on here? We got, are these the garlic cheese curds? Excellent. I'm very excited. And then this these look like fried mushrooms right here. I haven't tried those, so those are going to be good. And then is this the fried pickles? Okay. Well, hey, check that out. Yeah, so awesome. Well, thank you very much, Peyton. Say hi to everybody. Yeah. Make sure you check out the Rossco Fantasy Football Show. And since you're so great, do you like hats or are you more of a t-shirt guy?
T-shirt.
Okay, why don't you take that t-shirt right there? This one? Just for you. Absolutely. Hey, man, we appreciate you. Make sure you ask for Peyton when you come out, man. Peyton's super awesome, dude. We super appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, yeah, man. Well, that's that. You know, I hit my 1,000 wins. I just wanted to share that with you guys. And so thank you very much for going along on this ride with me. Going along on the ride with me. You know who's not going on a ride right now? It's those people who suck. I'm sorry. Suck, you're not going for the ride. But, it's time for Who Sucked the Most. Brought to you by Evans Vacuum. And this week, I'm excited. We've got some changes. We got some consistency on who sucks. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments if you're watching. Like I said, I'll put your comments up. Let me know what you think about this week's Who Sucked the Most. So, as always, Who Sucked the Most is brought to you by Evans Vacuum. Does your vacuum suck? Or maybe your vacuum doesn't suck. Either way, you should go check out Evans Vacuum. You know it as the store with the big vacuums in the windows, but since 1937, people all over DFW have known Evans Vacuum as the leader in quality vacuum sales and service. Swing by one of the Evans locations in Arlington, North Richland Hills, or their Camp Bowie location in Fort Worth and receive a free estimate to fix that less sucky sucker that you have. Or if you mention the Rossco Fantasy Football Show, you're going to get 25% off of your purchase, which is huge. Some of the vacuums that they sell, they're the best on the market. They're very expensive vacuums, so getting 25% off your purchase is huge. And even if it's just a box of bags, make sure you check them out. Maybe they can fix your vacuum. Maybe they can't. But go check out Evans Vacuum today. Well, tomorrow. So this week's Who Sucked the Most? Definitely looking forward to hearing from you guys to let me know what you think, but we'll go ahead and get this going. So first, I didn't have to change this slide, and I love when I don't have to change the slide. Now, I like it because I'm lazy, but I don't like it because, that means that these players aren't performing for you. Well, last week I talked about Breece Hall. He sucked. This week, Breece Hall, he sucked. 9 carries. He got 23 yards on those 9 carries. That's not a very good average, okay? But he also had 3 receptions on all 3 of his targets. Doing great. Thank you so much. Hey, you know what? Can I get another shot? Thank you so much. Okay. So, he did catch all 3 of his targets, which is great. He only got 14 yards, but here's the truth, guys. I really didn't I kind of didn't want to put Breece Hall on who sucked the most this week, and the main reason was because he was a victim of that game plan. They went down early. Minnesota got up, pretty quick, and you can't run the ball as much as you want to when you're down. So not only was he a victim of the game plan, but he was a victim of that Minnesota defense, man. They're kind of tearing it up. I don't know if you guys watched this game, but to me, it felt like every single play that Minnesota defensive line was breaking those blocks, getting off the blocks, and getting in the backfield really quick. So make sure you're paying attention to the Minnesota defense. If you got a running back playing against them, you might watch out. But he should be better this week against Buffalo, and the reason is because Buffalo's given up. I mean, they're like, literally, statistically speaking, they're looking worse than the Cowboys in the rushing game. Okay, so watch out for Breece Hall next week. You're not going to want to cut him, obviously. You're not going to want to bench Breece Hall. I mean, he should do better, but this week he sucked. So, Breece Hall, you suck. Also, real quick, before I get to Amari Cooper, who's watching right now? Are you watching? Are you watching? Let me know who's watching. I don't know who's watching. If you're watching, give me a comment. And then that way, I can put you on the screen and I can feel better about you watching the show and knowing who's watching. Also tell all your friends and family and your neighbors. Okay, Amari Cooper, I didn't have to change him this week either because guess what? He sucked this week. He only caught 4 of the 10 targets, okay? He got 4 receptions on 10 targets. So what that says to me is either A, his quarterback is not putting the ball on target. He's throwing in his direction, but he's not really getting it to where he can catch it, or B, maybe you're just not doing that great, okay? But on those 4 receptions, he did get 60 yards. What I noticed watching this game specifically is that it looks like Amari Cooper is getting open deep. But every time he's open deep, nobody's around him. Watson's not looking his way. So, I don't know. But when he's covered, boy, dude, Watson will throw right open, throw right over to him when he's in double coverage. But it seems like maybe there's some miscommunication there. Maybe he's just not linked up. Thank you so much. Maybe he's just not linked up with his QB right now. I don't know if we're going to see a change at quarterback. Part of me kind of hopes for it, just in the sense that maybe it'll give him some motivation to try to, maybe he'll get better targets. Maybe he'll get some more motivation to do a good job. I don't know, but this week, Amari Cooper, you suck. All right, now to the changes. Travis Etienne sucked. Actually, he's the last one of the same. Bear with me, folks. All right, so Travis Etienne, he had 6 carries. He only got 17 yards on those carries, guys. He did catch 6 balls, which if you're in a PPR league, that's awesome. Like, that's 6 points. That's like a touchdown off of just catching the ball. He had 7 targets. He only got 43. So right there, I mean, if you're in a PPR league, you got like 10 points out of the guy just off catching the ball. But not really too many more points off of his running. Now, he was limited still. Their coach says he was limited from last week, having that, the shoulder injury. He took a pretty big hit in this game, so they kind of, on top of him being limited, kind of limited him more. But we did see more Tank Bigsby. I told you guys last week to watch out for him. We might be looking at a split moving forward. And then Etienne takes another big hit, and he's out. He's very limited. He's not out. But Bigsby puts up 101 yards and 2 touchdowns off of 13 carries. So make sure if you have Etienne, you kind of watch that injury, that limited status. Bigsby might be a better play moving forward, at least for a little while. But yeah, Travis Etienne, you kind of suck this week. All right, now we're getting to that time where I have to make some admissions, okay? Admitting, number one, that I told you guys to get this guy, okay? But I want you to know, I'm not alone. There were so many people that if you look at the stats, you look at the opportunity, Dontavian Wicks should not have sucked this week, and that's why he's on the list. Okay, I told all of you guys he might be your top waiver wire move. I told you to use that waiver wire to get him, and if you trusted me and you played him, I'm sorry. Okay, but we're gonna get our revenge together. Dontavian Wicks, you are on who sucked the most this week. Brought to you by Evans Vacuum. He only had 2 catches, guys. He had 7 targets. He only had 2 catches for 20 yards. And he did have a big week last week, which is why I told you guys to get him, right? He caught 5 balls on 13 targets. Not great. Okay. Now, what's not great about that? 5 catches. What is great about that? 13 targets, right? We know we had some guys out. You know, Christian Watson was out last week, so that makes sense that he's going to get more targets, but he didn't catch more balls. So, make sure you're watching out for him. Now, oh, hey, by the way, Sugar, we're going down swinging. I just want to let you know. All right, so he just couldn't link up with Love. He's probably going to bounce back next week. We're still not really sure how that's going to go. I mean, he's definitely showed the chemistry with Jordan Love before, so there's a good chance he could bring it back this week, but all right, this, week 6, but last week, Dontavian Wicks, you sucked. Excuse me. All right, and then the last one. The last for who sucked the most. And this one breaks my heart. And I hope I never have to say this to this guy's face, right? Because this dude is a beast. This is not a guy I would want to mess with, but since I'm sitting by myself, way far away, all alone, protected by all these wonderful people with No Frills, I'm going to go ahead and say it. DK Metcalf, you sucked this week, dude. Sucked this week. He had 4 receptions on 7 targets, only good for 55 yards, but really the main reason he made the list this week is going to be because of that fumble. The points weren't really great before the fumble, but then after the fumble, nah. Now, he's going to be just fine. This guy is one of the main studs in the league that you want. If you have DK Metcalf, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't done any research on DK Metcalf, you really should. This guy is a man amongst boys. He's going to be just fine. Interesting stat I found out about DK Metcalf. Through the first 5 weeks, DK Metcalf has accounted for 23%. Almost a quarter of the passes thrown in Seattle are thrown to DK Metcalf. That is an excellent number, and that's why I'm not worried about him. I put him on who sucked the most this week because he sucked for me. I played him. He didn't produce. I lost a game. I don't want to say because of it. Yeah, I do. I lost a game because of it. So, DK Metcalf, you suck this week. He's also accounted. This is even bigger. You think that through 5 weeks, a quarter of the passes thrown to him is a big deal? How about the fact that 43% of the air yards Seattle has this year is from DK Metcalf? I mean, he almost does not deserve to be on the list. Yeah, you're going to have a bad game. I'm sorry, DK Metcalf. I'm sorry. You'll make it up. I know you're going to be fine, okay? And then the last person for who sucked the most this week is actually Chris Olave, okay? Chris Olave, kind of a bust almost. I'm starting to get to the point where I'm wondering if he's not a bust. Everybody drafted him high. Derek Carr had been doing awesome. I just don't know. He only caught 2 balls this week on 4 targets. What's up with that? He only had 10 yards on those 2 targets. Now, okay, let's talk about what's up with that. Number one, Kansas City is like the number 1 press coverage defense in the league. Okay, no joke. Like, they are the kings of press coverage. Okay, but he was out targeted by Rashid Shaheed. So a lot of that has to do with the cornerback that was playing on Chris Olave being a stud, right? But another part of that, let's just get real, is that Derek Carr left the game with an injury. Okay, it's not looking good for Olave. It's not looking good for Derek Carr. I did tell you guys earlier on in the season to go ahead and grab Derek Carr because of the stats he was putting up, and this changes everything. So this week, Chris Olave, you suck. All right, let's get him out here. Get him out of here. You know, when I think about getting him out of here, you know, I don't know. You guys tell me how you feel. When I think about getting out of here, I think about getting him out of here. You know what I mean? Think about getting him out of here. I guess that means it's time to cut or not to cut. Brought to you by Double F Landscaping. Double F Landscaping. If you're looking to make a cut or maybe a change to that backyard lineup, right? Contact Double F, okay? For all of your yard maintenance, your flower bed installs, your backyard renovations, and those fast approaching fall cleanups, okay? Get your free estimate today by calling 817-631-3399 or check them out on Facebook at Double F Landscape. Here's my favorite part. You ready? Double F Landscaping makes your yard look so good the Joneses will be trying to keep up with you. Double F Landscaping. Great guys. Great people. So this week's to cut or not to cut. Don't hate me. Jerome Ford. Okay. I hope you've noticed, and you may not have noticed, but starting last week, by the way, who's watching? If you're watching, shoot me a comment. Let me know what you think. You know, let me know where you're watching from. You know, give me something. Say hi. You know, let me know where you're watching from. I love having questions. If you have questions on fantasy, let me know. Tell me your opinions on how you feel about my segments. At this point, if you want to insult me, go ahead. You know, I want some people. You know, want some people. Oh, hey, Cooper. What's up, dude? Cooper's watching. Where are you watching from, Coop? Watching from Grand Prairie. Fantastic. And, All right. Well, I told you. If you wanted to talk smack, go ahead. And you know what? I can take it. If you want to talk smack, I can take it. You know what, Cooper? I know you're probably mad because I told you last week to get, you know, the Green Bay tight end, Tyler Kraft, and he did. And, oh, sorry, he went off for you. He went off for you, didn't he? Yeah, okay. Oh, you're just kidding. All right. You're just kidding. Okay, yeah, I did tell you go ahead and insult me, so you did a good job. But hey, you know what? I'm just happy you're watching. So thank you very much. Okay. So who are we going to cut this week? Well, I'll tell you, it's Jerome Ford, okay? 83% of leagues, Jerome Ford is owned in, okay? Now, that's a problem. The reason it's a problem is because he's on, you know, last week he had 9 carries, okay? Which, I mean, that's good if you're, you know, in a timeshare, you know, if you're in a split backfield. He got 47 yards in the 9 carries. He did have 3 receptions on all 3 targets, but he only got 2 yards. So you guys are wondering, why are you saying to cut Jerome Ford? Well, right now, he's split in the backfield with Donta Foreman, sorry. He had 9 carries. Donta Foreman had 9 carries. That is the exact definition of a split backfield, okay? And Nick Chubb's coming back from IR soon. Okay, I know Cooper's going to be excited about that. The whole reason I think you grabbed the whole reason you grabbed Jerome Ford is because Nick Chubb's out. And you know that the Cleveland running offense is going to work out for you. So, you know, make sure that you might be a good time, okay? Cooper saying, hey, don't sleep on Jerome Ford. Okay, you're right. You're right. He has talent, dude. And if Nick Chubb gets hurt, or if they decide to quit doing the split on that backfield, I would say rock Jerome Ford. But let's just get real, okay? You've had Jerome Ford for 5 weeks. How many weeks have you played? 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. Maybe you got him right away. Awesome. But what's he done for you since you've had him? Okay? I'm just throwing this out here, dude. It's 5 weeks are coming up. Okay? You've got Nick Chubb coming back. And so in my opinion, and I put it right here, Cleveland running backs are going to be touchdown dependent, okay, until Chubb comes back. And they're going to be flex options. Like, if you have to play him, go ahead and play him. But I wouldn't get too excited about keeping him. I'm sorry, Cooper. Okay? You need to cut him. Make space for that guy that's going to make a difference. This dude's just going to sit on your bench. All right. Xavier Legette. Or Legette. I don't know. This week, he only had 1 catch. He only had 1 target for 8 yards. Okay? He got injured. It's not good. He's set to have tests on his shoulder. That AC joint, I don't know, Dan, if you're watching, let me know if I'm right about the AC joint in your shoulder. But basically, he was forced out of the game. He only had the 1 target. He had the 1 catch for 8 yards, and then boom, right away. But here's the thing. I mentioned before that Carolina's not really the absolute best offense to have. Right now, Xavier's owned in 29% of leagues, and I just think that's too many leagues. He did have that big game against the Bengals in week 4, but I just want to be real, folks. If you are expecting big weeks out of the
Cut it, 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 cut it.
Let's see what's going on here. Connected mic and audio. Are you able to hear me now? Can you let me know? Okay, you still can't hear me? You still can't hear me? I'm so sorry that you're only hearing music, guys. Oh, there we go. All right, thank you so much. I'm so sorry about that, guys. Man, today has just been really crazy. The camera just quit working, and you know what? That's all right. We'll just roll with the punches. Okay, so you can hear me. You can hear me? You can hear me. Okay. All right, so Juwan Jennings, definitely. I told you guys a couple, like this last week, or a couple weeks ago, go ahead and get Juwan Jennings. It's going to be awesome. And then remember, I told you that because, Kittle was out. Deebo Samuel was out. Obviously, you just lost Christian McCaffrey. This is like a good time to have him. Well, guess what? Kittle's back. Deebo's back. The only time he really had a big game was with Kittle and Deebo both out, and they're both back. Week 5, he only caught that one ball on 4 targets. He only got 13 yards off the catch. So not really great. Candidate for who sucked the most. Excuse me. I hope you didn't hear that. But, this week he was out targeted by Kittle. Kittle had 13 targets. All right. And Brandon Ayuk was also kind of like not really the best option at the time that I told you to pick him up. But Brandon Ayuk had 11. Okay. So only having 4 targets compared to 13 or 11, what that tells me is that Brock Purdy is just not looking his direction. Okay. So now, not a bad idea to keep him rostered if you are, if you do have him. But, he could be a good handcuff if like Deebo goes down or Brandon Ayuk goes down. He could be a good handcuff. Maybe you need that bye week fill in. I'm way more nervous about you keeping him as a bye week fill in than I am you cutting him. Okay. So don't expect huge games from him. I mean, he's healthy and everybody else is healthy, but he's the lowest man on the totem pole for San Fran. So, might be a good time to cut him. All right. Now, there's been a lot of talk about cutting people. There's been a lot of talk about, getting rid of people. Okay. But I think it's time that we talk a little bye. Now, as always, bye is brought to you by our friends at Buy with Bry DFW. Are you ready to buy? Buy with Bry is a realtor you can trust with 6 years experience in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, in-depth knowledge of the market, and a passion for finding you the right home. Buy with Bry DFW is the best way to buy DFW. Call or visit them on Facebook today at Buy with Bry DFW. I went ahead and threw it up there for you so you could see it.
for buy this week. These are the guys you should buy. Now, I talked a little bit about them earlier this week. Or correction, earlier this episode, I talked about him. It's Tank Bigsby. Okay, Tank Bigsby is the guy that is making me upset. He's making me upset because I have Travis Etienne in quite a few leagues. Okay, so right now Bigsby's only owned in 23% of leagues, which means that it might be a good time to take a look at him, and you probably have a really good chance of getting him. Last week, if you were watching, keep in mind, he had 13 carries for 101 yards. Okay, two touchdowns, guys, and he also caught a ball 28 yards. That's a pretty good catch. So make sure you're looking for him. He's running well. He's running way better than Etienne right now, and that's good. Except, not good for Etienne owners. He might not be looking at a split backfield or anything like that much longer, just because he might take a little more from Etienne, and I'm just not excited. But Doug Peterson, he's the coach of the Jags. He said that Etienne is dealing with a shoulder issue. He took that big hit on his shoulder, like I mentioned earlier. So make sure you're paying attention to the injury report. This is almost roster repair worthy, but I decided to save it because Bigsy's only owned in 23% of leagues. All right. Yeah, man, he did outsnap Etienne this last game, 13-6. So like over double the rushing attempts. So yeah, I would say look at Tank Bigsby. Could be one of those situations I've talked about before, where it's guys like Chuba Hubbard, right, or guys who come in, kind of behind. Kerryon Williams is a great guy, right? He came in behind Cam Akers, right? You've got quite a few breakout guys. Jordan Mason came in for Christian McCaffrey. You've got those breakout guys. This might be one of them. This might be the opportunity for Bigsby to pick up to pick up that starting role. All right, just real quick, just going to try one more time. Let's see if we can find the phone. I guess not. So we'll try real quick. We'll go like this. Yeah, I'm doing okay. My camera's having some issues though. Isn't that weird? So, well, yeah, it's no. I promise it's not because you're over here. But the good news is I have this camera here that's just, it's nowhere near as good as this. So, but hey, we're having a great show. How's your night going? Yeah, a little bit quiet for a Tuesday. Maybe I should have done some more, advertising, and maybe I should have thrown out some more promos or something during the week. Maybe we could have got some people out here to watch. It's because of the what? Oh yeah, the construction, totally. Definitely not my fault. I just want everybody to know I'm not scaring anyone away. Okay. All right. Now, that is the first candidate for, who you should buy. Who's still watching? Are you still watching? If you're still watching, shoot me a comment. Just let me know who you think you're going to pick up this week. But this guy here might be your absolute top number one ad, okay? Darnell Mooney. Right now, he's already owned in 48% of leagues, so that's quite a few. That's quite a few leagues that he's owned in, and but that's okay. That means you still have a chance. Okay. Week 5. I don't know if you guys were watching that game. He did pretty good. He had 9 catches on 16 targets. That means he is a huge part of the offense. We've been hearing Mooney's name the whole season, but now I'm finally ready to tell you. Go ahead and pick him up. Got 105 yards on those 9 catches and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, so I would almost bet money that the 48% of people who did have him in their league did not play him. But I think you should consider starting to play him Right now, he's got 40 targets through the 5 games. Okay, so he's averaging about 8 targets a game as like a backup. All right, so that's something to consider. He led the Falcons last game in receptions, and also the touchdowns, right? So he's building that chemistry with Kirk Cousins. He's starting to make kind of a name for himself with Cousins. So I think that's going to be really good. They're playing the Panthers next. So look out for another big game out of Mooney, okay? And then we'll kind of speed this up just a little bit. Your last candidate for bye is going to actually be Jalen Tolbert. So I'm like a big fan of the whole, Cowboys team. But I'm looking at the stats. I'm looking at the numbers, all right? We got a lot going on here. Number one, Jalen Tolbert's only owned in 8% of leagues, so you can get him. Do not use the waiver wire on this guy. You can most likely get him. Last week, he had those 7 receptions on 10 targets for 87 yards and a touchdown, and I believe the game-winning touchdown for the Cowboys. So, Jalen Tolbert, cheers. Oh, sorry, Jalen Tolbert, cheers for that game-winning touchdown. Cowboys needed it. Now, Brandon Cooks did get put on IR on Saturday, so that's at least 4 weeks. He's out. Could be longer. Tolbert has a good chance to be the new number 2 guy next to CeeDee Lamb, and he can do it, man. He caught the game-winning touchdown. He's running really good routes. You got a real good shot for Jalen Tolbert being actually fantasy relevant. Okay, so make sure you look at him for your bye this week. Now, we've talked a lot about who you should keep on your team, who you shouldn't, you should cut. Sometimes there's just those situations that you just can't help, right? So when those situations arise, when you need to fix something, right? Well, what are you going to do? Well, I say you consider a little roster repair, or as Dan Boyer, host of the Sports Page, puts it, Ross to repair. But you know what? Never mind. Let's fix your fantasy lineup. Let's fix your team with a roster repair. Brought to you by K&B Automotive Care LLC. Huge fans. K&B Automotive Care. They really help people out, so make sure you check them out. So if you wish that someone would come to you for that oil change you've been waiting to get done, or maybe you've got a check engine light on, K&B Automotive Care LLC provides mobile diagnostic services and repair, covering a range of vehicle issues here in the DFW. Call to schedule an appointment at 682-704-1291. BMW, Mercedes, Jaguar, Range Rover, Mini Cooper, Ford, Chevy, Dodge, Honda, and Toyota too. If you're looking for honest, quality car care on the go, contact K&B Automotive Care LLC today at 682-704-1291, or find them on Facebook at K&B Automotive Care. All right, so roster repair. Super excited this week because I get to share this one. Oh, I get to share this one with you. Devon Achane. He was concussed. It's to be discussed right now. Bonk. All right, so there he is. Oh, no. Right? Before the injury, he only had 3 carries, only had 18 yards. He did catch 1 ball off that 1 target, but that was for a -1 yard. So not super exciting. I just didn't feel like it was fair to put him on who sucked the most this week, so I'm putting him here in roster repair. Now, if you watched this game, You're gonna know what I'm talking about. He ran that end around play, and he took a pretty bad hit, and he was out of bounds. And then he did the fencing position where he's like putting his arm out. That's not good, man. That's indicative of like serious brain stuff. So that's not good. But the good news, if there is any good news, is that he has a bye week in week 6. Okay, so he's got some more time to heal, which is good. You know, he left the game. He's got a whole week. I mean, there's a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance? There's a chance he plays next week, but or not this week, but next week. But I mean, I don't know. And so for roster repair, you know what? I put a little big mouth bass on here because I don't want you to worry. Okay, don't worry. Be happy. All right, be happy. Okay, be happy because you have plenty of running back options in Miami right now. You've got Raheem Mostert. You got Jalen Wright, right? You've got you even have Jeff Wilson Jr. Okay, but and a bye week. So don't fix it if it ain't broken. Just letting you guys know. Don't worry about this one. I think we'll be okay. I think he'll be back in time to play. Hopefully, I'm gonna just go for a little fried pickle here, and I'm gonna dip it in the ranch. But I'm pretty sure he's gonna be back and he'll be fine. So don't worry about this one. But Devin Singletary, on the other hand, I just wanted to trick you guys, make you think you couldn't hear me. Also, I was eating fried pickle. Devin Singletary, we know he was out this week. He had a groin injury. He was actually doubtful all week, but he did practice Friday. So they counted him in, but then they right at the last second called it back. So he's out. He should keep that starting role, but he really hasn't done much this year, guys, and so I'm just not really sure if it's going to be something that I don't know. But regardless, he does have a strong rookie behind him, so chances are he's going to be out next week too. We're not really sure, but oh, look at that, Tyrone Tracy Jr. He's owned in 23% of leagues. He's actually a wide receiver from college, and then they converted him to a running back. So he's got that skill set. He's got the speed. He's got the agility. He can hold on to the ball. He can catch the ball. Those are all things that you want on your fantasy team. Well, he earned a lot of extra work in these first 4 weeks. Okay, so just through weeks 1 through 4, he was a 23% snap rate. He was a 22% route rate, and he got a quarter of the red zone snaps. And that's 1 through 4, okay? That's not last week. What did he do last week when Singletary was out? Oh, no big deal. He only had 18 carries for 129 yards and 1 catch of those 2 targets for 1 yard. Forget about that, dude. 18 carries says a lot. 129 yards says a lot. Did he get a touchdown? No. Could he this week? Who knows? We're not really sure on Singletary. So, it's kind of one of those things that we'll have to watch. But if you're going to pick somebody up to make, Devin Singletary is not really doing it, right? So you might consider Tyrone Tracy. And, just throw it out there. I got one more. If you had Aaron Jones and you were smart and you were playing Aaron Jones, you're probably not super excited right now. Aaron Jones had that hip injury in the first quarter against the Jets. He did have an MRI yesterday. I haven't really heard anything yet. If you are watching and you're in the comments, you know something, let me know. But right now the coach is saying he's week to week. So he's week to week. And I don't know. He's got a bye week 6. He could still be out at week 7 for the Lions. So, you know, I think Ty Chandler is the play here. Alexander Madison is great, but I think Ty Chandler is the play. Ty Chandler is only owned in 28% of leagues right now. And on top of that, in week 5, he had 14 carries. He only got 30 yards, but he had 2 catches on 2 targets for 9 yards. So he's involved, right? He's super involved. He's got a bye week to kind of prepare for that starting role. But you know, when we look at Aaron Jones, it's week to week. So he's out this week because of bye. But then what about next week? Do we know? I'm not so sure. Okay. Before the injury, though, Aaron Jones had those 7 carries for 29 yards, caught a catch, and for 24 yards, which is really good. But then after he went out, you know, Ty Chandler kind of took over, and he did lose a goal line touch to C.J. Ham. But I don't think C.J. Ham's worth it. I think Chandler's the way to go, or Madison's the way to go. Madison is owned in a lot of leagues, so you may not be able to get him. Ty Chandler, pretty good option. Pretty good option to look at. So, here we go. One of my favorite segments. I love this segment. Super big fan. And I think it's time. You know, we've had the camera difficulties. We've had, you know, audio issues. But now it's time. It's time for Fantasy Talk with Rossco. And so we're going to go ahead and do that now. Let me see here. Let's get some good music. How about let's get you some nice little background music going here. We'll go ahead and get Fantasy Talk with Rossco started. Now, one thing I always like to do for you guys, I always like to put the link to join the show. I put it in the chat. So if you want to, you know, make a comment, you can go check the comments. You can get on the show if you want. Okay. So this week for Fantasy Talk with Rossco, you know, as always, it's brought to you by Apogee Graphics. I'm a super big fan of Apogee. They've helped me out a lot. You know, I got some super sweet hats. You know, I've got some super sweet stickers. Even let's check that out. Ooh, Rossco Fantasy Show stickers. Let me know if you want one, by the way, and I'll make sure you get one. But for Fantasy Talk with Rossco, brought to you by Apogee, I gotta let you know. If you're looking to make your brand stand out, Apogee Graphics specializes in bringing your creative ideas to life. From custom signs and decals to eye-catching posters and innovative 3D products, Apogee Graphics has you covered. Whether you're looking to promote a business, an event, or a personal project, Apogee Graphics is there to take your vision to new heights. With top quality printing and design services, Apogee Graphics is your go-to partner for all things graphic. Team up with Apogee Graphics today and create something amazing together. Yeah, so Apogee Graphics, love those guys. And so for this week's Fantasy Talk with Rossco, if you want, click on the link. I mean, it's in the chat. You can join the show. You come on. I can help you set your lineup, dude. I can help you set, you know, help you with those waivers. There's all kinds of stuff I can do for you guys. And I'm here for it. So while we're waiting to see if anybody joins or if anybody shouts out in the comments, if you have a fantasy question for Fantasy Talk with Rossco, I'll just go ahead. We'll kind of talk about some stuff, okay? So number one, let's talk about the bye weeks. This is going to be a thing for the next few weeks. I'm going to have this here. Last week, we had a lot of Philadelphia players, right? You had Jalen Hurts, right? Devontae Smith was on bye. Even though he was out, he's still on bye. Right, A.J. Brown was on bye. Saquon Barkley was on bye. Dallas Goedert was on bye. Oh yeah, Philadelphia defense was on bye. So you had a lot of guys on bye last week from Philadelphia. Also the Lions, right? If you had Laporta, maybe you had Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe you had Montgomery, maybe you had Amon-Ra St. Brown. Those guys were out last week. But this week it's a little different, right? We're all missing our number one guy. We're all missing the guy. Patrick Mahomes on bye. Travis Kelce on bye. If you have Kareem Hunt, he's on bye. Maybe you've got Xavier Worthy. Guess what? He's on bye. So yeah, Dolphins, not too worried about this one. I mean, I guess technically if you have Tyreek Hill, he's going to be on bye this week. But Jalen Waddle will be on bye this week. But right now, not too much is coming out of the Dolphins as fantasy-wise, so I'm not really worried about it. The Rams, I mean, Kyron Williams is going to be on bye. And who else from the Rams? Can you let me know in the comments? Is there anybody else from the Rams you're missing? Nope, probably not. Oh, Vikings. Well, you're going to miss Aaron Jones. He's already injured, but you're going to miss Aaron Jones. You're going to miss Justin Jefferson, right? Justin Jefferson is a big name that you're going to miss. You might miss that Alexander Madison, Ty Chandler pickup I was telling you about earlier. But, big names out this week, but not a whole lot of guys, okay? All right, so this week I actually got it to work, and I actually made sure that I put the right list. So here you go. Here is the top. These are going to be the top running backs from ESPN and Yahoo Fantasy. All right, let's take a look. So you can see, first thing I'm noticing, Henry very high up on the list, Saquon high on the list. Now, we've talked before about how ESPN kind of leans a little more towards those that standard league formats. So, chances are they're putting Kamara up number one for that standard league because, they just know he's going to get the yardage and the touches. He's number 4 on Yahoo's list. Jordan Mason kind of takes a big step up. And here's what's interesting for me, guys. I don't know if you noticed this, but you see Jordan Mason's number 11 on ESPN's rankings, but they have him as the number 3 on Yahoo. And that's a pretty big discrepancy. So that's definitely something to pay attention to. But, Bijan Robinson kind of coming in right there. Yahoo putting Josh Jacobs a little bit higher. And coincidentally, DeAndre Swift is actually ESPN's pick there. So there's those rankings. You can kind of make your own decision based on these two, but I thought it'd be a real good idea to throw those out there for you this week. All right. So for wide receivers, ESPN's putting Malik Neighbors number 1. I always get a little nervous about a guy coming off of an injury. I mean, unless it's like a super beast kind of guy, I'm always a little nervous about it. But, they've got Malik Neighbors number 1, Jamar Chase, obviously, CeeDee Lamb, duh. And then Drake London, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown. So that's kind of interesting too. Yahoo, on the other hand, Jamar Chase number 1, duh. CeeDee Lamb 2, duh. Malik Neighbors is 3, and I think that makes sense because they want you to be safe. So Jaden Reed is up there, DJ Moore, Drake London. So we're kind of seeing a little bit here between the two different platforms. Wide receiver is a lot harder for them to kind of be a little more consistent on. So, all right, and then lastly, I've got the tight ends up. George Kittle this week, number 1 tight ends. He's like the saving grace for tight ends this week. Tight ends this season, actually. And then Brock Bowers. Trey McBride, number 2. And then this is actually really interesting to see because it's so similar for the top 3. But these are like the only guys playing tight end this week, right? So, definitely something to consider. There's only a few good tight ends, and ESPN and Yahoo both have them at the same ranking. So, well, we've reached that time. We have reached that time where it's just time. You know, it's just time. So, I hate doing it, but I have to. I got to get out. I got to get off. All right. Make sure you check out Peak One Sports, guys. Peak One Sports. We've got my show on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, Dan hosts the sport page. Fridays, we do Friday Night Football. Saturdays, you got the lead off with Ashton and Tony and sometimes Landon. Those guys are awesome, but just, make sure you check out the Peak One Sports Network. Make sure you give us a like, a subscribe if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. Either one, make sure you show some love. And that'll do it for the Rossco Fantasy Football Show live for Week 6 from No Frills. I appreciate you guys joining me. Hope you have a great fantasy week. Hope all your teams win. And I hope you tune in next week. We'll see you then.